Viewers, this is a story that goes far beyond music charts and award shows. It's about a man whose voice has carried the soul of generations, and whose personal life has been marked by loss, resilience, and an unshakable will to keep going. When we say Eddie Levert, we're talking about one of the most powerful voices in R&B history. The leader of the OJs, a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, a man whose songs have been the soundtrack to love stories, heartbreaks, and celebrations for decades. But behind the bright stage lights is a man who has faced devastating personal tragedies, the kind that could break even the strongest spirit. And yet, Eddie still stands. Today, we're going deep into Eddie's life, from his early beginnings, to his rise to stardom, to the unimaginable heartbreaks he's endured, and the incredible strength that's kept him moving forward. To understand Eddie's strength, we have to start where it all began. Edward Willis Levert was born on June 16, 1942, in Bessemer, Alabama, a place where gospel music flowed through churches, and rhythm and blues spilled out of radios into every street corner. When Eddie was a child, his family moved to Canton, Ohio. It was there that his love for music truly began to blossom. In high school, he sang in the church choir, and his voice quickly became the voice everyone talked about. Deep, soulful, and already carrying the emotion of someone far beyond his years. He, along with his childhood friends Walter Williams, William Powell, Bobby Massey, and Bill Isles, formed a group called the Triumphs. They performed at local talent shows, and it wasn't long before they caught the attention of industry professionals. The Triumphs eventually became the OJs, named after a Cleveland DJ named Eddie OJ, who believed in their talent and helped open doors for them. This was the start of something big. The OJs started out in the early 60s, hustling from gig to gig, grinding their way up the music ladder. But it wasn't until they signed with Philadelphia International Records in the early 1970s that they truly exploded. Working with legendary producers Gamble and Huff, the OJs dropped hit after hit. Backstabbers, Love Train, For the Love of Money, Used to Be My Girl. These weren't just catchy songs, they were anthems. Love Train became a worldwide call for unity. For the Love of Money wasn't just a groove, it was a social statement. And at the heart of it all was Eddie's voice, raw, passionate, and unforgettable. Offstage, Eddie was building a family. He had sons Gerald and Sean, both of whom inherited their father's musical gifts. Gerald Levert became an R&B powerhouse in his own right, leading the group Levert with hits like Casanova and Baby I'm Ready, then launching a successful solo career. His voice was smooth, rich, and full of soul, a perfect complement to his father's. Sean Levert also pursued music and found success alongside Gerald and their childhood friend Mark Gordon in Levert. For Eddie, this wasn't just about music, it was about building a family legacy, watching his sons take the stage, and feeling the pride that every father dreams of. But that joy would soon be tested in ways Eddie never could have imagined. In November 2006, tragedy struck. Gerald Levert passed away at just 40 years old due to acute intoxication from a combination of prescription and over-the-counter medications. For Eddie, the news was devastating. Gerald wasn't just his son, he was his musical partner, his friend, and his pride. Eddie later said in interviews that losing Gerald was like losing a part of myself. The two had shared so many stages, so many recording sessions, and so many laughs. And now, silence. Fans mourned deeply. Tributes poured in from across the music industry. But for Eddie, the grief was personal and heavy, the kind you carry with you forever. Barely 2 years later, in March 2008, Eddie was hit with yet another crushing blow. Sean Levert died while serving a 22-month jail sentence over unpaid child support. Reports say he was denied prescribed anxiety medication during his incarceration, and he later became unresponsive and was pronounced dead. The pain of losing both sons in such a short span of time is unimaginable. It's the kind of grief that can destroy a person's will to live. Eddie admitted there were days he didn't want to get out of bed. But he knew that if he stopped moving, if he gave up, he'd lose the last thing his sons would have wanted him to keep, his music. So how does a man survive that much loss? Eddie credits his faith, his family, and his fans. Music became therapy, a way to process grief and keep his son's memories alive. He returned to the stage, sometimes breaking down mid-performance, but always finishing the song. Each note became a tribute, each lyric a reminder that his boys were still with him in spirit. Friends say Eddie is a man of deep reflection. He spends time with loved ones, shares wisdom with younger artists, and talks openly about grief, reminding others that pain is universal, but it doesn't have to define you. In recent years, Eddie has faced more goodbyes, losing friends, fellow musicians, and peers. The music world mourns not just for those gone, but for the pain Eddie has had to endure publicly. Social media has been filled with messages of love and respect for the OJ's frontman. Younger R&B singers credit him as a mentor, an inspiration, and a living example of perseverance. Eddie often shares a simple but powerful message. Don't let the hard times stop you from living. He encourages people to hold their loved ones close, forgive faster, and cherish every day. He knows firsthand how quickly life can change, and he wants his story to be a reminder of what really matters. Viewers. Eddie Levert's journey is more than just a music biography. It's a masterclass in strength. It's proof that even when life takes the people you love most, you can still find reasons to keep going. The world may mourn, but Eddie is still here, still singing, still inspiring, and still showing us what it means to survive with dignity and grace. What do you think, viewers? Has Eddie Levert's resilience inspired you? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the discussion respectful. Like this video, subscribe for more stories like this, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update.